bring about change in my community? How do I engage the community in a process of change to address the things that are impacting us? These are the kind of questions that young people struggle with, and that this technique called strategic questioning is designed to address. So strategic questioning was a process that was developed by Fran Peavy, who was a social worker in the US during the 60s, that saw that there were many, many people in the community deeply frustrated about decisions that local government were making, but that felt powerless to change it. And so Fran Peavy came up with this very simple technique that uses powerful open-ended questions to move people from a place of overwhelm to a place of inspired and engaged action. And so I'd like to work through that today, both as something that you can do with students that they can think through in parts as a way for them to think about what's going on in their communities and what they can do to fix it. I'd like to just start talking about powerful questions. And powerful questions are those to which we don't have an answer. Unlike questions that have a yes or a no, powerful questions are ones that generally when you ask them make you go, that's a good question. I don't know, and they start to generate more ideas. You know, Einstein said if I had an hour to solve a problem and my life depended on the solution, I would spend the first 55 minutes thinking about the question, the proper question to ask. Because once I know the proper question, I can solve the problem in less than 5 minutes. So strategic questioning is a process that helps us do this, and it follows a very simple formula: focus, vision, change, action. Before I go into those sections, I'd like to suggest a game that we always use, that we play with young people as a way of getting them to see that they themselves have the solutions. Because strategic questioning is based on the premise that the people that are in the best place to solve any problem are those that are in the problem. So communities don't need experts to come in and tell us what we need to do to solve our challenges. We have the answers. So this is based on the very simple knots game. You start out in a circle with everyone holding hands, and it's important that people are holding hands. I know there's variations of this game, but this one requires that we start holding hands. And you ask a couple of people, and generally when we do this, we ask the grown-ups, if there are any in the room, the other teachers or adults, to step outside, and they're going to be our experts. So the experts step outside, everyone is in a circle with their hands joined, and then they work to make a big knot, under and over, and tangling themselves up as much as they can until they're totally tangled. And then once they say that they're in a tangle, then we're going to invite our experts in. So we invite our experts in. Experts, thanks for coming. We're here. We're in the community of Missoula today, where you can see that there's such a big problem. The youth have got themselves all in a knot. They don't know what to do to solve it. Please, you have studied this. We're going to pay you $1,000 an hour. Come and help us out. Okay? So the rules, what you need to tell the experts is they're not allowed to touch anybody, and so they can only talk to get everyone to undo the knot. And the youth that are all knotted up can't do anything. So they just have to do whatever they're told to do by the experts. So the experts might say, you know, lift your arm, move to the left, move to the right, etc. And you're going to take the time. So taking the time, the experts are trying to undo the knot, working through it. If they don't get it after 5 minutes, sometimes we stop and decide that we need new experts. Once they have undone, then you're going to do it one more time. But this time you're going to ask the experts to join and be a part of the community. Then you repeat the process. Experts join the circle, everyone's holding hands, you make a knot. And then this time when it comes time to solve the problem, you're going to suggest that everyone is involved in solving it. So there's no experts this time, we're just all going to solve it ourselves. And what you'll see is when we have our experts trying to solve the problems, it takes 5, 6, 7 minutes. And when everyone is working to solve the problem, it takes about 30 seconds. So after you've done this, then you invite the youth to reflect on what they think they have seen as a part of this exercise. So the kind of comments that we hope to hear is, you know, if we're working all together as a team, we can solve things. Hopefully you'll get to, we don't need experts to come and tell us what to do, that we have the knowledge and wisdom here amongst ourselves. So they're the kind of comments that we use to set up the next piece. And you can refer back to this as we go through the process of focus, vision, change, action. You can refer back to the exercise. Our focus questions help to identify the situation and the key facts that are necessary to understand what's happening. So focus questions are actually not necessarily powerful questions because we're trying to define something. So the powerful questions generate new information. These are not generating new information. One of the things that we really try and do in focus questions is to take a concern that's really large and narrow it down into something specific. Okay, so focus questions can start with, what are you concerned about in your community? What is it that you're seeing that's bothering you? And if, for example, one of the ones we often see is a response that could be, I'm concerned about climate change. We want to bring this down. Well, what do you see about climate change that's concerning you in this community? Or what are you hearing? Or how does that affect you on a day-to-day basis? So to take that from a really big problem into something that's a little more manageable. Types of focus questions that we can use are things such as observation questions, using keywords such as see, know, feel. So what do you see happening? What do you hear around you? What do you know about the situation? Often if somebody says, well, I'm really concerned about the homeless population in Missoula, for example, what do you see on a daily basis that makes you think about this? Okay, when you see that, how do you feel? In the focus questions, it's important to connect both the head space and the heart space. So I'm hearing this thing and I'm seeing this thing, and how does that make me feel? So allowing space for questions such as, I feel concerned, I feel upset, I feel angry, I feel sad. Because all these emotions also help to generate the impulse to then take action, recognizing that this thing that's out there that I see is impacting me on a personal level. So once you feel like you have the concern and the focus, then we move into the powerful questions in the other 3 stages to start to work towards change. The next questions we do are visioning questions. So visioning questions are, how would you like it to be? Visioning questions allow people to start to dream and create and imagine a different place. So if I'm concerned because of the pine beetles that are creating dead trees in the forest, how I would like it to be is the time, and often I say, if you have a magic wand and you can create the future, how would you like it to be? And we invite people to maybe close their eyes. Often we get them to draw and start drawing a picture of their community, if their community was a safe and resilient and healthy and fun place to be. Wow, well, I see the forests here around Missoula. They're green and they're vibrant and they're full of animals, and the streams are full of water and the snows are falling at the right time. So I'm painting that picture of the future that I want. Here, our keywords are things such as hope, wish, what would you like to see happen? What is the meaning of how would this impact your life? How would you feel if this change came about? And then we move into change questions. So the change questions are almost like a little mini brainstorm. So when we're asking people this, it's what has to change, okay? Here is our focus, here's what we're concerned about, and here is how we'd like things to be. This is our vision for a better, safer, more happy, sustainable world. What has to change to get from A to B? And I often think of this brainstorm, I think of it 2 cliffs, and in the center is a deep valley with a river running through it, right? And so the brainstorming, the change, is about saying, how many ways have we got that we can get from where we are to where we want to be? And often we use things such, we use a idea of concentric circles. So what has to change personally? So I could educate myself, I could change my habits, so those kind of brainstorming. What has to change on an interpersonal level, on a community level, perhaps on a municipality-wide level, political, national level. So change rippling out. And so this is really a time to be as creative as possible and see how many different ideas we can come up with. And of course, in any brainstorming situation, the crazier the better. So often when I'm running this process, the idea is we're not going to discuss it. We just want to see if we can fill up the whiteboard, fill up the blackboard with as many ideas as possible. The action questions. So the action questions are getting down to the specifics, of saying, okay, this is the focus, this is the vision, these are all the things that need to change to get there. What are you prepared to do about it? And so in the action, first of all, we invite people to say, well, this is what I'm prepared to do. This is my action plan, this is my initiative, this is where I'm going to start. And then we need to get really, really specific. So these are some of the SMART goals. Are they specific? Are they measurable? What are you going to do by when? But also during action questions, we can guide young people to think about, what are your resources? Who else could you talk to about this? Who else maybe could be allies? What else do you need to know to learn more about this situation? So we're also helping them to develop a more robust plan by thinking about some of these other elements. If there's a plan to go out and clean up the rivers, it could be, how could we, are you going to do it on your own? Do you want to attract more people? How could you do that? Helping to set some specific time frames and goals as well. And then knowing that things will change, so maybe there is an action plan that they have a short, medium and long-term goal, and they finish the short-term goal and things have shifted, and that's okay. So our process is to accompany young people as they begin to take action and to do what I say is to exercise their citizen muscle. So to go out and start doing something and then reflect on it. Did that work? Did it work as the way we thought that it would? What can we learn from this? Do we need to shift our plan or our thinking around this? And then going out and trying again.